If there's one man who deserves the term legend, it's Buddy Guy. From humble beginnings as a sharecropper in Louisiana to reaching the top of the charts as a bluesman, Buddy Guy's done it all. 8 Grammy Awards, Naris Lifetime Achievement Award, National Medal of Arts, Kennedy Center Honors, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and dozens of other awards. His fans include Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, Stevie Ray Vaughn, and every other major artist. I had a chance to sit down with Buddy Guy at his club Legends in Chicago. Here's our conversation. It's great to see you.
Thank you, and thank you for coming here. You know, every little bit helps with a blues club.
Yeah, and you're living the blues. You got it going on.
Well, I was born with the blues, and I'd rather fight than switch.
I love it, man. We were here last night enjoying some blues here on the stage, and you got up and sang.
Yeah, some people kick me behind, and what makes it so funny sometimes is some people don't recognize me, especially with the mask on, because it was a couple sitting at the bar, and they said, "Buddy Guys here," and they was looking and they look, and I even bought a drink between them, and they look, and I heard them say, "Where is he?" You know, so this is the kind. Well, I like stuff like this because it's like fun to me. You know, I say, well, when they call me up, then you recognize I just bought a drink between you and your wife or your girlfriend or friend or whatever that was.
Right. That's awesome. You sounded great.
Well, thank you so much, but I had a little scratchy voice with this weather. You know, you one day it was 90 degrees and the next day it was 40.
Yeah. And
that's not good for you if you're a singer, because I'm not one of the best singers out there. So any little thing that gets in my throat away, it bothers me. But a double shot of cognac kind of helps.
Gets you started, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite songs off of The Blues is Alive and Well with Keith Richards and Jeff Beck. Cognac song.
Yes,
I love that one.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. So I was doing a little research on you before we sat down today, and I have to admit, I was just exhausted looking at all the stuff that you got going on. You got documentary movies, you got written books, you got working on music, you're touring, you got Buddy Guy Radio that you're launching.
Well, you know, it's I went to sleep yesterday and woke up, all the great blues players is just about gone. And I'm not a baby anymore. You know, I got a birthday coming up, I'll be 86, and I'm just trying to. We used to talk about it with Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Little Walter, and all of those guys. They still was in their best health there. And we used to talk about this day, who would be left here. That's please don't let the blues die, because a lot of those people, I know you should know this, spent their life just playing for the love of music.
Right.
There wasn't no pay. And we used to tease one another. You would say, "Hey, man, I know you ain't gonna get paid tonight, but if you play good enough, you might get you a good-looking gal." And I found out that. I said, well, ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
One of the classic stories that I saw, and I have to ask you if this is true, the story that when you first came to Chicago, you hadn't eaten in 3 days, and so Muddy Waters brought you a bologna sandwich to keep you going. Is that true?
Well, what happened was a stranger led me to a famous blues club. That's the address on 47th Street. 708 East 47th Street. The late Otis Rush was playing. So this guy knew I could play a Jimmy Reed and a few B.B. King licks. And they brought me in, and Otis Rush said, if he can play, bring him up. And I went up, and I think I played the Guitar Slim tune, Things I Used to Do, which was a big record for him and Ray Charles back in Louisiana, and what they call it, late Lou Rawls Children's Circuit. And I played that, and I think I played a Jimmy Reed, and I think B.B. King had a record I called Sweet Little Angel. And when I got on, I was telling people how hungry I was, and they said, "Oh man, quit jiving me. You can play a guitar like that, you ain't hungry." And somebody called Muddy, because he was living about 8 blocks away. And all of a sudden, before I left Louisiana, they said, "Now you know you're going to Chicago, be careful, because in Chicago, it's not like Louisiana, you get mugged." And I didn't know it was called Muddy Water, the mud. So I walks out of the 708 club with my guitar and bang. And all I could hear was something ringing, and this Muddy done slapped me.
Oh.
And the other 2 or 3 people out there were saying, that's the mud. I said, oh, I see what they mean by getting mugged. And he had done, I had done told somebody about that salami sandwich, and he had a loaf of bread and some sliced salami, and he made me get in the car and eat.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
What a great story.
Yeah.
What a great story.
Yeah.
So guys like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, in the day were sort of mentors to you and helped you get your career going. You did sessions with them at Chess, and you've been mentoring young blues players as well, Quinn Sullivan, Kingfish. Talk a little bit about that, how you're helping to bring these younger players up to the blues today.
Well, you know, even me, sometime I just got lucky to come here, and there wasn't that many young people playing guitars when I got here. So I guess I come a little ahead because my late brother, which is 2 years younger than me, passed away going on 14 years. And some of his last words was to me, I should have left Louisiana with you. And now you got young girls and young men just playing these guitars and things. I'm like saying, they're good, I got to say something, because I think when it was less guitar players, the word got out better, but now they're everywhere and they're good. Mm-hmm. So sometime maybe me, Clapton, or whoever is kind of got a name for themselves, if you say something, somebody will listen. Mm-hmm. So that was my way of saying this kid, because when Quinn showed up, I got a picture upstairs. He's about like this, and I was in Massachusetts, I say, and he had a little polka dot banner and a guitar, and his dad had him. I looked down off my stage, and I was soloing. I said, can you play? He didn't smile. He came up, man, and played Clapton. He played Jimi Hendrix. He played B.B. King. I said, wait a minute. I said, I got to let somebody else hear you. Maybe I'm listening to something wrong. So Eric Clapton had me in New York. And I said, I told his dad, I said, I want you to bring him to New York. And when we got to New York, Eric and Jeff Beck looked at me and said, who's that? I said, just wait. And when he struck up the guitar, Eric looked at me, who is he? I said, I don't know, you tell me. Jeff Beck said, man, where you find him? I said, he found me. And the same thing with Kingfish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I see another one, I ain't gonna keep my mouth closed. I'm gonna say, y'all, somebody need to listen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when you find these young players, do you teach them about the blues, or how do they learn about, or how do they progress?
Look, when I heard them kids was playing some licks I didn't know, so I can't tell them that. I say when I was that age, I couldn't even play a radio, so I couldn't. I can't tell them now. These kids are more advanced now than we were when we were children, because they got a lot of things they can look and learn. I didn't have that. I had to just go into a room. My brother and sister with old acoustic guitar used to tell my mama, get him out of here with that noise.
Right.
These kids can look at some of the most famous guitar players in the world on television and everything. I didn't have that. So I just sat down and tried to figure out what John Lee Hooker and Lightning Hopkins and these people was doing myself. Mm-hmm. And I didn't figure it out right, but I knew what I was listening to, and I play by ear. I don't read music now. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you have to play by ear, and I was blessed with that.
Right, mm-hmm. Right. I think that's still one of the best ways to learn to play is to listen to the music. Are there particular artists, obviously yourself, but are there other blues artists that you point to that you should listen to this artist? This is going to teach you the blues.
No, I don't recommend nobody. I got a son. He works here, and he grew up in the house with me. They didn't know, because, they didn't have black people on television showing you, playing guitar while he would say, that's my dad. So when I come home, I don't go pick up the guitar and say, son, look here, here's what your dad do. I didn't say nothing. And the kids got to be 21 to come into a club, but Illinois done changed it now. If you can play, you can come in here now at 9 years old. They can't stop you. So When my son turned 21, matter of fact, I can tell you a little laughing joke about it. Before he turned 21, he must have been 16, 17, and on 4th of July, I had the speakers in the yard, and they was spinning albums. And they would put on Prince, Michael Jackson, and stuff like that, and they was all dancing. Every once in a while, somebody slipped my album on, my son would run out and take it off. So when he turned 21, he came into the club and saw me play. And he said, "Oh my God, I didn't know you could do that."
Wow.
And, excuse me, and he been had a guitar ever since now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, "Get me a guitar now."
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Right.
My daughter sings. I got one, there's a hip hop. I mean her across steps at the airport in Denver about 3 weeks ago. She did a hip hop show, and I was going in there to do a blues show at the theater.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you have a new signature guitar with Fender that you've been, the Stratocaster with the polka dots.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I lied to my mama. I'm the oldest boy, and it was 5 of us, 3 boys and 2 girls, and she had had a stroke. And I was working at LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I think I was making $28 a week before they take out. And I found out from another guy who had come here, said, "Man, you could go to Chicago and you could make twice that. You could make $60 a week." And my mom and dad didn't have an education and I could help them. I said, "Well, I'm gonna go try Chicago and I could send back more money here than I'm here." So I hopped the train on September 25th, 1957 and got off here. I knew the guy, so I found his house. And it wasn't easy because, you know, people look at you, who are you? Well, I mean, my late friend, Junior Wells, and I said, "Man, I can play. Who you played with before?"
Right.
And these are the kind of things. But Muddy didn't do that. That's why I took him in as a dad or whatever. And quite a few people, because after they heard me, they couldn't deny it, because I could play those Jimmy Reed licks, man, and Lightning Hopkins, and they were saying, "Where you from? Where you come? Where you come up at?" And then I looked at, back in those days, all the blues club, wasn't no blues club this size. All the blues club bandstands was behind the bar.
Yeah.
Well, you see that whiskey, and they had a flap like at the end of this bar. When they would call Muddy out, they was all sitting in chairs, and they would flap this down, and Muddy would come between, and you had 2 waitresses on each side, and they working 2 cash registers. So you could sit there, and Muddy would be almost like you could put your hand on his feet. So these guitar players, Lewis, Dave Miles, Earl Hooker, Otis Rush, and all of them, I said, "Man, these guys is playing." I said, "I need to know." But I had watched Guitar Slim, and they all was sitting down playing. Plus, they had music stands with J.W. Junior Wells. And I'm saying, they read music. I got to go back to Louisiana and start reading music. But they was, excuse my language, they was bullshit. They didn't have no sheets up there. And when I found that out, I said, "Oh, I could do that," you know. So anyway, I said, well, I see them all sitting down. I said, I bet if I go up there and play and jump off that bar, somebody will pay attention to me, because they called, and sure enough I did, and they called me the Wild Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of led me to that. But I back to about my mother and that polka dot, I lied to her and I told her, I said, "I'm going to make double the money, I'm going to send you some money, I'm going to drive back down here in Louisiana." I'm trying to make her feel good. In a polka dot Cadillac, and I knew I was lying. Yeah. And I knew I didn't never want to buy a polka dot, because if you got famous, that polka dot would show up everywhere, and everywhere you went, you couldn't rest, because sometime I try to go to dinner now in Brazil or Germany, everywhere, and if they recognize you, if you go into your mouth with a fork, they'll come grab your hand and say, "Will you sign this?"
Yeah.
You get to the concert, if you ain't got a back door to get in, they line up outside, and it's a business now. Eric Clapton taught me this over 35, 40 years ago. Most of those people selling autographs now. I had one guy come up and tell me, "If you can't sell this, I'm hungry. If you sign this, I can get me some food."
Wow.
Yeah, but they lying to you. So anyway,
Right.
I my mother passed away. And I said, oh man, I didn't get a chance to tell I lied to her about that polka dot Cadillac. And I went to Fender. I said, I need something to remind me that big lie I told my mom about that polka dot Cadillac. I said, I'd like to get a polka dot guitar made so I'd have that with me the rest of my life, because I didn't get a chance to tell I lied to her.
Right.
So they finally got me a polka dot. And what's so funny about it, they had what you call a NAMM show. It used to be here, and it was Nashville and somewhere else. So when they made it, they was like, who's gonna blah, blah, who's gonna blah. And all of a sudden they took it into the NAMM show and they called me and said, it's selling faster than the regular ones. Yeah.
Everybody wanted the polka dot.
Well, all the guys who had know a little about me wanted the polka dot because it was something different, you know.
Right. And now
so now I got the shirts, the shoes, and matter of fact, I saw John Lee Hooker got a picture with the socks. So I was taking a photo shoot down here a couple of days ago, and the guy looked at me and said, oh, you got your polka dot socks. I said, man, you make some photos for my album. What you gonna put on my album? My feet's in the album, polka dot.
That's so awesome, though. It's that trademark for you. You even got a polka dot sound booth here in the club.
Well, yeah, after the kids found out I was a polka dot freak, and you notice, did you see the football helmet there? Yeah, they have polka dot, yeah. They got the shirts, they got the ties, and I get stuff in the mail sometimes. They didn't bought the shirts. I got the shirts, and I don't have the pants yet, but every once in a while somebody mails me something. You polka dot.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, man, looking around this club, all the guitars on the walls that are signed by famous artists, and the photos you have, all the history. Some that jump out at me, of course, Stevie Ray Vaughn is a big one you've got upstairs in one of the rooms up there.
Right. I think I got one of his back then, too.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And Jimi Hendrix photo, Stone Free on the wall and things. It had to be an amazing...
Yeah, but did you see his shoes?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
His sister gave me that. They didn't want to give it up, but I kept bugging him. She said, well... I'm gonna let you have this, because him and I was very close before he passed away.
Yeah. The story I heard was that he had canceled a gig and brought a reel-to-reel tape recorder into one of your gigs to record you. Is that true?
Well, they had that tape upstairs there. I don't know if they got lost it or got rid of it, because we didn't have the little tape where you could now the reel-to-reel. Now I was in New York and I wasn't really aware of him. And I was going through one of them wild things that night, and everybody started hollering, that's Jimi Hendrix, that's Jimi Hendrix. So I said, so what? Who in the hell is that? And he stopped. He said, man, I canceled my gig because I had never seen you play. I heard of you. I want to tape what you playing. And we became friends after that. And every time we got a chance to play a little bit together.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I hear some of your phrasing and his phrasing sometimes when you listen to the way you guys are soloing.
Well, they told me Clapton, Beck, Jimmy and him, Jimmy Page and Jimi Hendrix told me they heard a couple of licks I was playing. It wasn't my record, see, because I did a lot of little stuff behind Coco Taylor, Wolf, Muddy, and then I did some stuff on a couple of spiritual records. And they was figuring out what was that, because I don't know if I still have it or not. When I first went to England, Eric wasn't famous, Beck wasn't famous, Jimmy wasn't famous, and they all told me they slept in a van. And they was come to see me play, and I was kind of wild, and I think I threw the guitar up and caught it. And they told me, he caught it in the right key. And I don't even remember that, man, So and actually, I don't know if I still got it through my divorce, but the Rolling Stone magazine interviewed him, and they said they didn't know Stratocaster could play the blues till I went there.
Yeah. Because
they thought it was like a country and western type of guitar that plays music. And when I went there and played it, all of them wound up with Strats. And the Rolling Stone put me and Beck on the cover once. That'd been a while ago, called the Strat Cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. What was it about Stratocaster that attracted you?
Guitar Slim.
Yeah.
And, you know, you get acoustic back then before Leo started making that solid body. You had to be careful you couldn't get wet because it would pop open and you know, the weather would damage it. And anything would damage it because you couldn't hit it. And I saw that you could drop this one, that solid body, and it'd get a little scar on it, but you couldn't hurt it. So when I saw Guitar Slim the first time I saw him, he came to Baton Rouge, and you know you strap on your guitar.
Yep.
He didn't have a strap; he had a fish line. And I looked at that man. I say, I'm trying to learn how to play like B.B. King, but if I learn how to play, I want to act like that man. Because when they introduced him, I was at the stage like I wanted to see him, and I was standing because they didn't have no chairs in these small places. And I heard a guitar. And I said, oh, now I done paid my 50 cents to see this, and I don't see no guitar player. And the band was cooking.
Right.
He come in the front door and had this heavy-side guy, you know, like you put your little kid on your shoulders with legs around and walk through the park with him.
Right.
He was on that guy's shoulder coming in the door playing. I said, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I learn how to play, that's exactly what I want to do. And he had a 100-foot cord. And I come here with one, and now when I got here, I had it, and the guitar player was saying, oh, ain't nothing coming through that wire. That's too much long wire. Now they got the wireless.
Right.
And there was a great guitar player named Earl Hooker. And I used to just jump off the stage with that long wire and run down through the house, and people were going crazy. Next thing I know, they were stealing my wire. The other guitar players. They were, oh, yeah. I said, man, he's drawing the crowd with that crazy stuff he's doing. So let's get a long lead card for your guitar. And all of them started doing it. A lot of people do it, and I still walk through the crowd.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I don't walk through the crowd, people say, you wasn't feeling too good last night. Because they expect that now, you know, in theaters and everything. So if it's possible, I make them get me a stare, and I just walk out into the audience.
Right.
Sometimes I let some of them strike the guitar, and they're like, oh, I can't believe it. Especially the theater where some kids like this be there, and I let them hit it. And what's so funny about it, if I let them hit the guitar and they heard what they hit, they don't look at the guitar, they look at the audience and like say, look at me.
I'm a star.
Yeah. And I have fun with that, I really do.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So after playing the guitar for years and writing and singing so much music, are you still learning new things? Are you still practicing?
I'm still listening I listen to sometime everything. When I first met Eric and BB and all of them, I listen to a note on the piano and a horn. And if it's a mandolin or whatever, it's something I hear, and I go back and say, I heard something, let me see can I find it on the guitar. But if a young guitar player is listening, you might not find it, but I told it what the Foo Fighters, who was in Washington, and I was talking to them like I'm talking to you. I said, if you don't find it, that's just like, you dropped a dime somewhere and you're looking for it, but guess what? That's 25 cents. I was looking for a dime, but I found a quarter.
Right.
And I think they wrote a song about that after I said it, because that's what mine was. If I was trying to find something, a little Walter played on a harmonica, I couldn't find it, but in the meantime, it's something else coming out of there that you was hunting for, that sound that you heard on a harmonica or a horn or something, but you found something twixt in between.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So when I get to sit down with a legendary artist like yourself, who's worked with so many other amazing artists, I always have to ask, what is it that makes a great artist?
The tennis player, John McEnroe?
Yeah, sure.
We're good friends. He's a good guitar player.
Yeah.
Someone asked him the same question about other tennis players, and he, like me, I won't answer that because I love them all, and I can't put one above the other one. But the only thing I can say, before he passed away, I told B.B. King, I said, man, I could go buy a guitar for $3.98, acoustic guitar. I said, but when you came out with 3 o'clock in the morning, I had to buy my guitar on time. So the bending of the strings and the squeezing, I think B.B. King deserves that.
He's the one that gets the credit for that.
He's the one that made that guitar sound like he said he could make his guitar sound like Mahalia Jackson singing and all the great gospel singers.
Right.
And they was great guitar players. Now, don't get me wrong, but they wasn't making that string bend like he did, and it stood out like a sore thumb.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy, thanks so much for sitting down with us today. It's been such a pleasure to get to chat with you.
Always, man. And thank you, because sometimes I don't even think of things that you ask me for the answer, but I'm glad you asked me, because I done forgot about all that stuff like that. And like I say, we got the little radio station I'm trying to get going. I'm trying to keep the blues alive, and every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys, and if you need me for anything else, I'll be more than happy.
You're too kind, and we just appreciate you so much. And thanks for the show last night, man. It was great to see you on stage singing.
Is you going to be here tonight?
We're not going to be here tonight. No.
Why not?
Well, we should stay, shouldn't we?
Yeah, because I'll go back up there again
all right,
tonight.
well, we'll stay.
I'll go up there. You got me. And I got
Talk
news.
me into it.
Wait a minute. I got news for you. You ain't going to stay. I'm going to give you a double shot of cognac with me.
Well, now we're talking.
Now we're talking about stay. All
Got
right.
the incentive there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, and I think my ride will get me here about 9 o'clock or 9:15. And we can have the shot before I play, or you can wait till I play. And when I get mines up there, we'll toss.
Okay.
You got it.
It's a deal.
It's a deal.
It's a deal.
All right.
If you're in Chicago, you got to come to Buddy Guy's Legends. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much. And you're always welcome here. The doors fly open for all the good people. And I got to thank whoever. We haven't had a problem with violence yet so much. They broke out my windows once a little over a year ago, before the COVID-19, but they didn't come in here and take nothing.
That's good.
Yeah. So I just try to be the right person and try to live the right life. So I love everybody. I don't pick a nationality of a person. If you're from Africa, Japan, Australia, I love the world.
Right, I love it.
And I'll be like that the rest of my life. You can't make me dislike you. Don't even try.
I won't even try.
All right. Thank you.